So I'm about to cast some plaster molds, a mold of a lamb, and I'm going to cast the body, the head, and the 4 legs here, and they're all separate molds, and they're all about 3-part molds. And I made them by casting a plastic toy lamb that I divided into parts and then poured the plaster around it to create the parts of the mold. So I'm going to cast it with some porcelain casting slip. And I'm just going to pour in the liquid clay into the cavity of the mold. I'll let these sit for about 10 minutes and then I'll dump out the excess clay when they're ready. So these have been sitting for 10 minutes and now I'm going to dump them out. The longer I leave the casting slip in the mold, the thicker the piece gets. So this is the right time for me to dump them out. So after letting this sit for about a half an hour, I can start opening the plaster mold. This mold's in a bunch of different pieces and I'm going to put them all together with more of the casting slip. So now I'm going to attach these 2 pieces together, and they've been sitting outside of the mold for just a few minutes. They're now at the leather hard stage. The first thing I'll do is cut off this excess bit of clay with an exacto knife because it's nice and sharp. I don't need that. Then I'll take a brush and I will dip it in some extra casting slip, like the kind I use to make these, and I'll just dab it on to the surface that's going to be attached, and then I just stick them together, and this is enough to have it hold until it dries. So now I've attached the legs to the lamb, and I'm just going to do some fixing up of the seams with this tool. I'm just trying to make it look seamless. And now it's ready for me to just let it dry until it's dry enough to go into the kiln. So this piece has already been glaze fired, and I've glazed the antlers, and now I'm going to put this material called gold luster on the tips of the antlers. This is the bottle that the gold luster comes in. It's very small because it's made with actual real gold. So I'm just going to dip my brush in, just take a little bit, and I'm going to only use the gold luster on the glazed parts because the luster takes on the characteristics of the glaze that's underneath. So it will be shiny if I put it on the shiny glaze. So now that I've painted on the gold luster, I'm now ready to put it in the kiln, and I'm going to fire it to somewhere between 1200 and 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. So now the piece is ready to take out of the kiln. And you can see that the luster has gotten a lot shinier than when I first put it in.